Hello, and welcome to another rendition of Monday Money Moments with your host, myself, Dana Miller, from Executive Financial Insights. We are continuing our topic on fraud for the month, and today's topic or headline is "It Can Happen to Anyone." The story is from a client of mine from several years ago, and I will be discreet about the details so as not to reveal any pertinent or sensitive information. And so the story starts with, it is a nonprofit, and they offer program and they offer service, and they also have a retail outlet that takes in donations and then turns around and sells the donations to the public and to businesses. So first of all, hot tip for the night and for the week and for the month is you always want to have separation of duties with your employees. And the purpose of this is to avoid employee theft and employee embezzlement, which is another form of theft or hiding money. And you can do that by separating duties. And what does that mean? So think of if you have you have money that comes into the organization, you have a person that accepts the money and stamps the money and takes it to the bank. That person should not be the person that records the money into the accounting system or does the reconciliation. And the reason for that is, of course, is because if all of those duties are handled by one person, then it can lead to theft because they can just not put the money in the bank and say they did, or they could just say it never happened at all. So at any rate, you want to definitely try to separate duties wherever possible, especially in the accounting area. Now, normally that helps prevent fraud. In this particular story, it actually didn't seem to make a bit of difference, and I will continue on with my story. So this particular nonprofit had a central office and an administrative office where the CEO and the executive team and the other directors would do most of their work, and the program directors and so forth, and deliver services from the central office. And then there was a satellite office a few miles away where they would take the donations of goods, and then this is where also where the sales would happen. Well, also in these goods that were being donated, there was a particular high value item that would be, and it was kind of a special high value item. So when it would get donated, then it would also get sold back out to the public, usually to vendors. Well, for whatever happened, this particular satellite office for years had been taking in this particular item and selling it to vendors, but not turning the money into the organization. And the vendors, it blows your mind. The vendors would actually write checks to the employee of the company, and the employee would cash the checks and then split the money with all of the people that were working at the satellite office. And this went on for quite some time. And it wasn't enough money that would have tanked the organization completely, but it certainly was nothing that should have been taken off of the books. Let's just put it that way. It was a big enough amount of money. So a lot of new employees at the satellite location were younger. And so when they would come in and they would be told this is how this particular item worked, then they would just say, okay, that's the boss said this is how we do it, and that's what we do. Well, at one point, one particular employee, young person who had come in and had been told the ropes, didn't feel good about it. And so this person decided, I need to tell somebody. So this person called a hotline. So here's another fraud tip for you. It's really good to have some way for your employees to reach out to you or somebody on your board anonymously to let somebody know something's going on. That's what this gentleman did, and he let somebody know through an anonymous tip. And Obviously, the executive director immediately went out to the satellite office and took a look in the safe and saw a pile of cash there, and the whole scheme was discovered, and then a stop was put to it, of course, and consequences were had for the employees. And so here's a couple of things that you as a CEO, executive director, or manager can do to manage and mitigate this type of activity. First of all, like we said, separate duties normally. You can also go visit your satellite sites, and you can do that. Definitely, it's good to do it unannounced. Not that you're out trying to catching people and gotchas and all that kind of stuff. It's really, but that is one way to determine what's happening, is you can see what's going on. But it's also a great opportunity for you to interact with the staff and show your support, ask questions, get to know the staff, get to know the operations a little more deeply. And you can maybe discern things that are going on, or you can sniff things out maybe. It's an opportunity for you. And another thing, of course, is the hotline. And then the last thing I might mention is the CEO could have been looking in the financial statements and done a deep dive as to what's going on in revenues and say, I would expect to see sales of this particular item because it was high dollar value and high value in the marketplace. The CEO should have expected to see some sales there. And when the CEO didn't see those sales, could start asking questions. It's not like the CEO needs to do deep dive every month on financials. High level is generally where the CEO or the executive director stays and belongs, but every once in a while, just deep dive on a few key items. So that's the hot fraud prevention tips we have for this week. And I encourage you to subscribe to this channel. And then for more tips and more resources, please visit the website, www.executivefinancialinsights.com. It's been a pleasure, and we'll see you next week on Monday Money Moments. Thank you.